I've actually never told anyone this, but in 2022, I almost gave up making money online. I was so frustrated because I was putting so much effort and I had nothing to show up for. After 4 years living abroad, that was the first time I had the opportunity to go back to Brazil and stay with my family. So I wasn't doing any work and I made over £2,000 just by selling some lotion templates that I had on Etsy. But that wasn't the reason why I didn't quit. The reason why I didn't give up and didn't sabotage my business, it was because of this book. I was on Book Talk and I found people recommending this book from Brianna Wiest. I don't know if that's how I pronounce her name, but people were going crazy about this book in the comments. So I had to give it a try and I was hooked on this book. It took me just a couple of days to read it because, as you can see, it's not a big book. It's short, but it's super powerful. And that's the reason why I stopped sabotaging my side hustles. And eventually it became my full source of income. So according to Brianna, your mountain is the block between you and the life that you want to live. We can also see this mountain as internal resistance. It looks like self-sabotage, limiting beliefs, the fear of success or fear of failure, fear of being seen. So why do 70% of lottery winners go broke within just a few years? Because they never really climbed their mountain. Their external reality, the millions in the bank, outpaced the internal reality, which is their identity and their beliefs. So what do? They self-sabotage, for a lack of a better term, but they do that to go back to what feels familiar and safe. Here's a real story from Brazil. A man from a very poor background, he won the lottery, which was equivalent to $5 million in back then, which was a lot of money. He spent it all lavishly on women, restaurants, and he was actually living in the most expensive hotel in the city. Why was he living in a presidential suite? Because once the security guard asked him to leave because of the way he looked. When he won the lottery, the first thing that he did was to go to this hotel just to prove this guard wrong. Shocking part is that he didn't even buy a house for his own mom. After blowing through all the money, he actually went back to live with his mom, climbed his mountain. He never actually did the inner work. That's why it's essential to climb our mountain if you want to create lasting growth. Lesson number 1 is that you will always return to the level you believe you deserve. A big lesson that I've learned from this book is that self-sabotage is not an enemy. It's actually here trying to protect us from suffering and is trying to keep us safe. The first thing to understand is that our brain is not wired for success. It's wired for safety. It will do everything to keep you on that familiar zone, even if that costs you your dreams and even your health. If you want more joy, more freedom, more money, if that doesn't feel safe, your body will panic and it will subconsciously push that away. Gay Hendricks calls this the upper limit problem. It's when things start going really well for you, but you hit that internal ceiling and you might start spiraling. What if that all goes away? What if I lose the money that I made? What if I can't keep this going? I actually experienced that myself very recently. I had a big dream for living in a beach town. It was on my vision boards for years and years. And when it finally happened, I started to feel anxious, I started to spiral and having lots of fears of this home going away, of losing money. As a consequence of those thoughts and that energy and the behaviors that I was having, I was attracting more expenses. I was attracting parking tickets that I never had. And even though I had passive income coming in my business, I had sales coming in, I wasn't actively doing anything on my business for 2 weeks. I didn't plan anything, I didn't promote anything. I wasn't posting on social media. I wasn't sending emails. I wasn't doing anything because I was feeling so overwhelmed. I had to give my virtual assistant 2 weeks off because I had no jobs to send her. Right there, it was my upper limit. Even though it was everything that I ever wanted, it was new. It didn't feel safe. Solopreneur, this might look like you make a few sales on your shop and then you start hiding. Just finish creating an amazing digital product, but instead of promoting it, you start creating a new one. Or maybe you get invited to speak in a podcast, but you talk yourself out of it. How I worked through this. The first thing, it was active rest. I went for walks. Sometimes I took a nap in the middle of the day. These are just ways that you can show your brain that you are safe. The other tool that I found it really helpful, it was EFT. EFT tapping because it helps you clear limiting beliefs and rewire your subconscious mind by tapping into specific points and repeating certain phrases. And this is something that you can do on YouTube for free. You can do it by yourself, just a few minutes, and it has an instant effect. Because real self-love isn't just getting your nails done, it's deciding I will no longer accept a life that I am unhappy with. Second lesson from this book is on chapter 2, which is all about how your environment can make or break you. One of the biggest shifts that I had in my life didn't come from a business plan or a super strategy. It actually came from me changing my environment. When I was living with my dad, we were actually living in a very tiny town where people didn't really talk about their dreams, they had no ambitions, they were just like deep inside me. I always had this fire. I always knew that I was meant for big things, and I always had like many dreams and always this desire to explore the world and travel and do different things. And when I moved abroad, everything changed. It literally feels like I've lived 10 years in 5, not just because of the location, but also the people that I surrounded myself with. And it's not just physical. Your digital environment also plays a big role. So think about, who are you following online? Do they make you feel inspired, excited, or do they make you feel less than and make you compare yourself? Are they fueling your vision, or are they draining your energy? So how I worked through it: I joined paid communities, cohorts, group coaching programs. I invested in networking events, all of that to be around people where talking about money, business, growth is normal. I did everything I could to surround myself with people that were living the life that I wanted to live, even if that costed money. And you don't have to wait to find these people in real life. You can do this online. Start curating your environment. Unfollow people that drain you, join a mastermind or a community, say no to energy leaks, build your workspace in a way that reflects the future you. Because if you stay in the same environment, it's very likely that you're just going to repeat the same patterns. And a different future always starts with a different environment. And that doesn't mean that you have to move to a bigger house, that you have to move countries. It might mean that you change your workspace a little bit, or you change your wallpapers, or you just make your home feel more inspiring. Lesson number 3 is that it's not the strategy, it's what's underneath. You can be doing all the right things. You are building, you are posting, you are showing up consistently. But if you still feel stuck and anxious, it might not be your strategy. It might be something deeper. Every time that you feel this fear or you feel triggered, it's not a sign to stop it. It's actually a sign to lean in. One thing that became very clear for me is that fear is not a problem. It's actually the doorway. Everything that we want is just on the other side of that fear. I'll give you again my personal example. I've always wanted to have a YouTube channel. I'm someone who loves to study and who loves to share the things that I'm learning with people. So YouTube is the perfect platform for that. But I was scared of being seen. I was scared of being judged. I was scared of failing in public. So I actually decided to take small steps toward this fear, and I started my TikTok account. I started posting faceless videos, and I started to become more confident over time, and I finally started this channel a year ago. Over time, my confidence was building up video by video, and that's what made it possible for me to have multiple streams of income, be able to live in a beach town, live on my own terms, and have the time freedom that I've always craved. So how I worked through that? The first thing that I did was to take small steps toward that fear. It was not avoiding, it was going towards it, but in a way that it felt safer. Instead of starting posting long videos on YouTube, I actually started posting faceless videos on TikTok. One app that I am currently obsessed with is called the Higher Self app. I am using this every single day to rewire my subconscious mind and create new beliefs, and most importantly, clear these fears that I can identify on my day-to-day as a business owner. Say I have this fear coming up of feeling like an imposter. So I go into the app, I do a 20-minute meditation that goes and clear that in my subconscious mind. Is filled with all these tracks that you can listen at any time to clear these fears. What I love about this app is that it has a specific section just for entrepreneurs. So as entrepreneurs, we have fears of maybe feeling like an imposter, fear of success, of losing money. And when you feel this coming up, you can just listen to a 20-minute track and it helps you clear that fear in your subconscious mind. And it's amazing. And by the way, I'm not affiliated. I'm not getting paid to share about this app. It's just because I am obsessed with and it works really well for me. So if you want to try it, I'll leave the link in the description. They do have a 7-day trial and you can see if that works for you. And a fun fact as well, if you are into manifestation, is that I've used this app to manifest this house. I was listening to a track called Manifest Anything That You Desire. I was listening to every day and I was visualizing the home the way that I wanted, and everything worked perfectly, and that's why I'm living in this home. So in your day-to-day as a business owner, if you have these fears coming up, don't try to stop it or push it down. Lean in it, because that's the doorway to your freedom. And every single thing that you want is just on the other side of the mountain. What happened to you, it's not your fault, but as an adult, it's now your responsibility to work through it if you really want to create freedom and if you want to create the life of your dreams. If you've enjoyed this video, you'll probably like this one too, where I break it down all my sources of income for the month of April, so you can start building your own too. And I'm dying to know, did you like this format of these videos breaking down lessons from books, or do you have any book recommendations that you want me to break it down? I want to know, because I've never actually recorded a video on my sofa in this style talking about a book. So I would really love if you could share if you enjoyed it, if you have any recommendations. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye!